I am Mahatma Gandhi, the man who led India to freedom through peace and resistance. Born in 1869 in Porbandar, India, I was raised with strong values of truth, non-violence, and devotion to duty. As a young man, I travelled to London to study law, believing knowledge would be my greatest weapon. But it was in South Africa where I first witnessed the brutal injustice of colonial rule. I was thrown off a train for refusing to leave the first-class compartment because of my skin color. That moment changed me forever. I realized oppression was not just a personal affront but a systemic evil that had to be fought not with violence, but with satyagraha, the power of truth and non-violent resistance. I organized peaceful protests against racial discrimination, inspiring thousands to stand up for their rights without raising a fist. When I returned to India in 1915, I saw my homeland suffering under British rule. Peasants were starving, workers were exploited, and the country was treated as a colony rather than a nation. I knew that freedom could not come from war, it had to come from self-rule, unity, and non-violent resistance. I led the non-cooperation movement, urging Indians to boycott British goods, schools, and services. When the British imposed a salt tax that burdened the poor, I walked 240 miles to the Arabian Sea in the famous Salt March of 1930, defying the law by making my own salt. The world watched as an unarmed man challenged the might of an empire. The British responded with brutality, jailing me and thousands of my followers. I was imprisoned many times, but even behind bars, my resolve never broke. An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind, I declared, refusing to meet violence with violence. I fasted for peace, spoke for unity, and preached against caste discrimination. I believed India's freedom was meaningless unless Hindus and Muslims could coexist as brothers. Finally, in 1947, after decades of struggle, India gained independence. But the joy was overshadowed by the partition of India and Pakistan, which led to horrific bloodshed between Hindus and Muslims. I was heartbroken. This was not the unity I had fought for. I travelled across the country, pleading for peace, fasting to end violence, and urging my people to embrace love over hatred. On January 30, 1948, I was shot and killed by a Hindu extremist who saw me as a traitor for promoting peace with Muslims. As I fell, my last words were, "Hey Ram, O God," a final prayer for the people I loved. But my death was not the end. My teachings on non-violence, truth, and resistance inspired movements for civil rights around the world. Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and many others followed my path, proving that peace is the greatest weapon against tyranny. I am Mahatma Gandhi, the father of India, the leader who defeated an empire without ever lifting a sword. My life was my message, and that message lives on. Be the change you wish to see in the world.